Howdy, folks. It's Blue Lives Matter. Back down here by Via with an update. Sergeant Poore had called me earlier today uh, regarding him following up with Via administration about their bus drivers blocking off those public parking meters. He said that they're going to stop doing that. And while I'm not down here today specifically to check on that, I did come down here earlier today to check on that. I saw bus 100 back behind where I parked, which was midway down Medina. And when I did look at the bus, it stopped back before. It wasn't staging; it was just waiting there for a few seconds to make up some of the time before it got on schedule for its route. And I was happy to see that it wasn't blocking the meters. And I was like, okay, cool. And then it went around. I thought it was a staging bus, but I saw it was bus 100. So it did go around. And I was like, cool. He told me they put out the word. So far so good. I'm actually down here on a different thing right now. Actually several of the ladies that I talked to in this neighborhood have told me that there's some people down here that it's unfortunate, but people have been soliciting people for prostitution down here. There are prostitutes down here. Make no mistake, there are. But these ladies don't even feel safe walking down here because other people just assume that because they're walking down in this neighborhood that they're prostitutes. And they gave me a very specific vehicle description, and it's a cab, a white cab. They didn't tell me what cab company, but I have that. I took a picture of the cab. They told me what cab number. It's cab 128. Hello, Missouri Reaper. I'm just down here at Via. I was doing a follow-up story and decided to just come down a little further away from my vehicle. I paid the meter until 6 o'clock, so I don't have to worry about the meter expiring. So I came down and sat in the shade. My story today isn't about anything to do with Via, actually. It's about some scumbags preying on homeless women, trying to solicit them for prostitution. This is near a homeless shelter. There are a lot of homeless people down here. There are a lot of drug users, a lot of other things that go on down here. I've been assaulted in this area probably 2 or 3 times. If you're not aware, about 6 weeks ago, a guy actually broke my humerus, my left shoulder up here, right at the shoulder joint. He tackled me, and I guess when my shoulder hit the sidewalk or the curb, clean break. I'm fortunate I put it in a sling pretty quick, and then got it x-rayed, and they're like, yeah, you need to keep it in a sling. So it's a rough neighborhood at times, and it's rough because of what happens down here. That doesn't change the fact that people deserve to have the government looking out for them, and these women don't deserve to be molested, whatever. I asked the ladies, I said, why didn't you go tell the police? Via police are right there. And they're like, oh, it's off of, we told the security guard, and they said call SAPD. But I also know how that goes. Nobody wants to be a snitch. And in this neighborhood, being a snitch will get you stitches. Trust me on that. People see me filming and they assume that I'm a snitch. Well, you know what? I don't snitch on drug sellers, drug deals like that. That's not my thing. I try to avoid being around that, just because if they see me filming, they'll come after me. Then I'm going to have to either defend myself or clear out of an area that, I'm stubborn sometimes, pretty stupid. Earlier today while I was parked up there waiting to get pictures of this cab, soliciting this lady. It wasn't one of the 2 ladies, so that's the 3rd time. This different lady. The guy who assaulted me walked right past my car. I I have nothing to say to the dude. I don't hold a grudge or whatever, but I'll tell you this. I always keep my eyes open for him. You know, I protect myself the best I can with a disabled left arm right now. I do carry pepper spray. I carry a firearm. Um, some of the people who watch my live feeds are like, "Oh, you should have pepper sprayed that guy." You should. I'm like, I don't. I don't frivolously use force. You know, I don't believe in it. If I need to, then I'm going to use what's available. Not having two hands, I may not go for pepper spray first. If my first option is to retrieve my firearm, then that's going to be my first option. If I see something coming and I can get my pepper spray out, then, that's going to be an option too. But either way, like I said, I'm just down here now. Um, you know, Came down here, chilling. Police officers parked behind me. You can probably see him right back there. That's Officer Rollins. He's a decent police officer. He's an officer I feel I can trust. He's always been respectful. He hasn't tried to pull the crap like Officer K. Epps did the other day, making false threats. You can't park there. You better leave, blah, blah, blah. Is that your car? Is that your car? Running my tags for no reason. Just hoping I had a warrant or something, just trying to intimidate. You see, bad officers do that. This officer behind me has never done that, and so I still respect him. In fact, I respect the majority of the VIA police officers. There's one or two bad apples, and I have no respect for Officer Epps. He's the same guy who didn't wear his mask while he was threatening to arrest people for not wearing their masks, and I brought that up to him, and he said, "I ain't your boy." And, just the way that he said that implied a racial overtone. He is a black officer. The issue for me with him saying that is I really felt like he was trying to initiate or engage in racial baiting. And had I taken part in that, he'd have said, "Oh, well, he's trying to race bait me now, whatever." But again, when he said, "I ain't your boy," I just remembered that. I said, "Well, I'm not yours either, and you're not going to treat me that way. You can talk to these other people that way, but you ain't going to talk to me that way." But sure enough, just the other day, he came out and started talking his smack to me, and I told him, "Fuck you, pig." I'm sorry, but that's what you are. When I said, "Fuck you, pig," and he stopped again after, sitting behind my car for 10 minutes. I said, "That's right, I called you a pig because that's what you're acting like." When they act like pigs, they get treated like pigs. And again, when I say I don't treat all police officers that way, out here looking for another subject that was delivered to me. A guy dropped off some feral cats here the other day. My source told me this about 2 weeks ago, and he says, "Well, they've been dropping off one or two cats there like twice a week." And I said, "Really? You seen the same car do it?" And he gave me a description of a vehicle. So I came down here and I was watching, and I seen the description of that vehicle. But again, how many Ford F-150 trucks are there? It could have been a different vehicle. But so I'm watching this vehicle, and I'm like, well, he didn't turn in to drop off any stray cats. But he did go over at this other corner. I'm going to point my camera down all the way over there. There's another corner over here. And he pulled around that corner. He's passing out literature over where they're at. VIA doesn't mess with them when they do that. So, okay, that's a good thing. But then I saw a paddy wagon pull up 3 minutes later, and he wasn't helping the homeless. He was arresting the homeless. He's an undercover cop. So I kind of laughed. I'm not sure if the person gave me that information trying to kind of set me up, or if that guy had arrested him before and he's like, "Oh, I know how I'll screw with that guy because this guy follows up on everything. He'll be following this dirty pig around, putting him on camera and stuff." And I do have pictures of him on my body camera, but guess what, guys? That officer didn't do anything wrong. I'm not putting his face on camera on YouTube. If he's doing something wrong that I see in an arrest, he's going up on YouTube. But I'm not going to blow an officer's cover just because someone told me that he might be dumping feral cats. Onto the feral cat story, though. Because someone had told me that, I'm out here the other night, and I'm looking for the dumper of cats between a certain time period. That's when this person who catches the buses all the time tells me, oh yeah, well it's usually between 8:15 to 8:45, 8 to 9. And I'm like, okay, I'll go around and check it out. And I come out and I see a security guard feeding the cats over here. Now, the funny part about that is the same security guard will run people off if they're taking water. If they park here in the Via parking lot over here behind me, back this way, if they do that, they'll run them out of their parking lot and say, well, you can't park here if you're going to feed the homeless. This is only for Via bus riders. And I laugh about it. I say, okay. Got security over here on my left. I'm not worried about it. I'm not doing anything illegal. But he went over and talked to the officer who cruised up the street. But Via will run off people for feeding the homeless. They don't want you feeding the homeless anywhere near their property because the homeless litter. But they'll allow their guards to feed feral cats, which crap all over the place, breed, cause other health issues. So I made a short story of that, put in a FOIA request for the information or the video on that guard feeding the cats. And I'm still looking to see if I catch someone dumping those feral cats. I kind of made a joke about it. It would be funny if it was actually the off-duty officer and the guy didn't even know it was an off-duty officer. Because you know how well that's going to look. I'm kind of thinking that my source's information may have been messed up. He may have just seen that vehicle cruising around here quite often and said, oh, that's probably the guy who's dumping these cats off. Either way, like I said, I follow up on my stories. I do what I need to do. And right now I'm still out here seeing if that same cab's going to come back. Got pictures of them earlier. Hey, appreciate you, Johnson County. I assume that's Johnson County, but sorry. Let me pull that up. J.O. Okay, so it's J.O. County in Kansas. Appreciate you tuning in. Not much happening here. I'm just following up. Again, it's been close to an hour that no Via buses have staged after I spoke with Sergeant Poore about his officers responding to bus drivers and making unlawful threats of arrest on me for parking where I'm supposed to park because their bus drivers weaponize their police because they're parking where they're not supposed to park. So, I mean, that's a good follow-up. People often think, oh, you're just out here getting views and making trouble. I'm like, no, I'm down here actually trying to create change. And that change wouldn't have been necessary if it wasn't for one or two bus drivers just being verbally abusive and nasty and making threats or calling the police on me for doing something that I'm perfectly allowed to do. Now, they park in no parking zones all the time, and Via dispatch, they openly admit, well, we'll never ticket or, cite any of our Via drivers for anything. Got that on camera with me on the phone with dispatch, and then I call Officer Becker over there, and he tells the bus driver to back up so I can legally park. But again, that's a problem. Now, like I was saying, I can complain to Via about this all the time, but when the drivers start getting their police involved, and then their police feel like, oh, well, we have to do something because, our drivers are calling us, and they step out of line, and those are Karen calls, and I don't like those Karen calls. Those are the things that get people hurt. Those are the things that officers overreact to, and when they do, citizens' rights get violated, citizens get hurt. So, that's why I'm like, okay, you guys are going to make a deal of it. I'm going to push it on your police officers. When you call out your police officers and you make your police officers do something stupid because they feel they have to back you, then, I want your police officers to think every time you call them for something stupid, in the back of their minds, they should be saying, is this really worth making a scene over, or should we be responding and investigating this complaint, not assuming it's a legitimate complaint? So that that cab that I had reported earlier, I can't confirm it right now. I'm keep an eye is made a loop up down by Martin. So it's still cruising the neighborhood. I'm going to see if he comes back down. If he comes back down, I'll turn my camera around and definitely get the son of a bitch on my live feed as well. I do a still photo shot of his license plate when he pulled a lady over. He pulled over up the road, back by where I'm parked, up the street down this way. He pulled her over past that next street up there. And so I got a still shot of his license plate, documented his cab number. But that's what I'm out here right now. If he wants to continue hanging out in this neighborhood, I'll continue taking pictures of that. You know, can I prove he's soliciting prostitutes? No, I can't really prove that. These women would have to complain to the police themselves. What I can do is call up his cab company and say, hey, you know, can you explain to me why this guy's always in this area? You know, it's not a coincidence that two ladies tell me he solicited them for prostitution, and then I drive by and he pulls another lady over. And again, like I said, this is a homeless area of town, but it makes me mad. People victimize the homeless all the time. And again, there are prostitutes down here, but what's the way for me to say that? You know, it doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right for people to cruise around here, take advantage. I mean, about 3 months ago, I was up by the GI Forum, and a guy had picked up one of the veterans from the GI Forum, which is just up the street, and took him out to do some manual labor, and then was dropping him off there, and he wasn't paying him what he told him he was going to pay him. And the guy busted him in his face right in front of me, so I turned on my camera. And then the guy started crying like a little girl. You know, came up, I was filming, I was like, dude, you don't need to hit him anymore. I was like, just pay him what you owe him and get on out of here. You don't come up here, get these guys to work for you. You know, they're homeless. Well, they're staying at the GI Forum, but that is a place for homeless vets. And they go out and do what work they can, and then you don't pay them because, you know, what are they going to do? You're just going to drive off? I'm like, you're lucky he only punched you once. I'd have hit you 2 or 3 times. And, of course, you know, the guy, he tried to leave, and the guy tried to jump back in his car. I was like, dude, just let him go, man. It ain't worth getting run over or, you know, killed trying to get back in his car. Like, it sucks you got taken advantage of, but it's not worth your life. Let him go. So, I mean, he drove off with the dude halfway in his car, and the guy fell out, you know, a little bit down the street. But the guy got out, and he's telling me what happened. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. You know, I know that shit happens down here all the time. But again, this is a pretty rough neighborhood. Things like this happen down here. That's why I'm always down here. You know, I got lots of time to document a few things. So that's what I do. I'm looking down the street again. I'm not seeing that same white car. If that cab was still cruising this area, it probably went back down over by the closer to the homeless shelter and is cruising those areas down there instead of down here by Via. The two ladies had told me there's also a street up there. I'll stalk out or stake out for a while, but I don't like being down that close to the homeless shelter. I mean, for the very reason that, you know, it is next to the homeless shelter. And okay, here we go. We got a bus coming down. We're going to see if it stages. Nope, it's not going to stage, and that's what we want to see. I haven't seen it stage all day today. And again, Sergeant Poore did call me and told me that they're going to stop him from, or Via said they're going to stop him. For me, that's a win. Always a win when you get the government to do what you ask them to do for a year, then they make a scene of it, and you're like, okay, you won't do what I asked you to do, so your guys make it a problem for you. I'm like, I'm more than happy to make it a problem for you. I'll piss off your bus drivers, they'll call the cops will make a false arrest, and I'll make you guys look like idiots on YouTube, and then you'll get, a couple thousand calls, and then you'll say, oh crap, this dude's doing this, and we're wrong. So I saw Melissa come in. Give me just a second, folks. Heather, I don't know why, but I thought I already added you as a moderator. Do I need to do this every time you guys come in here? I saw Banana come in. Thanks, Banana. Nope, because I see Melissa still has her wrench. Might as well. Guys, I give you wrenches in here. I typically do not have trolls that come into my chats. You won't have to ban anyone. I prefer it if you don't ban anyone. If they talk a little bit of smack, let them talk their smack. As long as it's not disrespectful to anyone else. They can call me whatever. I laughed. The cops called me the homeless hippie for like 3 months, and I adopted the name. I'm like, okay, great, I'm a homeless hippie. And so, I got no problems with, people calling me names or whatever else. But feel free to post other people's chats, other links to other people out there doing the same thing. And, oh, hell, now I added Banana as a moderator. Oh, my life is ruined. I'm not sure what all you can do there, but don't start trying to tell me to give Josh a ring, Anna, because I've got one. That's an inside joke. I'm always teasing Josh about putting a ring on his hand. And not that, they appear to be a very happy couple, and, I just talk smack. That's what I do. It's not any of my business. But I like seeing a happy couple. So, there you go, Heather. You tell Banana. And, Banana, if you didn't read my reply to your chat, those were no longer his preferred pronouns when you said you didn't want him to scare him off. He prefers the word you instead of him. So change your phrase on that, and then it will say, you would love you to put a ring on your finger talking about me. Just kidding. That's the type of crap I joke about. I'm not getting married again unless someone really knocks me over the head and ties me down and says you get married. Don't see that happening anytime soon. Plus, I try to stay away from people who are crazier than me. Unfortunately, the only woman willing to date me are crazy. Thank you, Anna. Now you just have to tell Josh. Like I said, this is just going to be a follow-up. And again, usually within 40 minutes, there's buses staging down here. So down here following up on the other story, if you guys just came in and didn't know, what I'm actually was down here was catching a creep who's soliciting homeless ladies for prostitution, and that just pisses me off. I mean, it does. It's what was reported to me. I don't know that he's done it for a fact, but I saw him pull a lady over early and her walk up to his car, and that's more than likely what he's doing. There's no reason these ladies would come up and talk to me about that. It's not like we're friends. They just know that I look out for the neighborhood. And when they feel something's not right, they'll talk to me. They know I talk to the police. And, when I say they know I talk to the police, they know I'm not friends with most police officers, but that a lot of police officers do respect me because of the way that I act towards officers and the way that I carry myself. Just like an officer was parked up the street the other day, and he was, well, this is a few months ago, but people at the homeless shelter were afraid to go out because they thought he was there waiting for them to go out and see if they had warrants. And I told him, I said, dude, he's not there for you. That's not, I mean, I know that's what it looks like to you because you're paranoid. You got warrants. Go take care of your warrants, but he's not there for that. And they were all, no, he is, he is. I said, well, here, what if I go ask him for you? They're like, you won't do that. I went up, I talked to the officer. I'm like, hey, I know this is why you're out here. You're watching the back of the buildings these guys are breaking into because VIA owns these buildings and the homeless do break into the buildings, but you're parked right next to the homeless shelter and these guys are afraid to come in or out of the homeless shelter because they think you're waiting to catch them because they have warrants. And he's like, oh, absolutely not. I'm not paying attention to them at all. I was like, yeah, well, I'm going to go show these guys the video. And I was able to show 3 of the guys the video. There were like 6 of them at the time. Didn't never really caught the other 3. I mean, I recognized the 3 guys when I got back with the video. I didn't see the other ones, but I'm sure the word got around to them that no, that's okay. But again, you know, I'm willing to go up and talk to a police officer. I'm willing to tell an officer, hey, what you're doing is wrong. Unfortunately, homeless people are so afraid of the police that, you know, they'll avoid any contact whenever because of bad experiences. That includes reporting crimes. And again, these homeless ladies around here, and they don't even have to be homeless. If you get off the bus here, you go up the street, there's a big medical facility down here, Brady Green. Now, I'm sure one of the other buses would be closer, but if they caught a connecting bus here and just walked over, this guy could be soliciting them too. And, you know, I guess where I was trying to go with that is that I don't want to see anybody soliciting anyone for prostitution. But, you know, and the fact are, again, when I say there are prostitutes down here, I kind of made a joke a few, well, it wasn't a few months ago. It was over a year ago when I passed by and a lady was bragging about a guy in a black car. She's like, oh, that's my favorite John because he gives me 20 for a blowjob. And I was like, holy crap, that's your best paying John? And I was like, and the other lady was like, I get 8. I was like, I can scrounge up $8. Bad joke. But, you know, I kind of told my sister about that. And she's like, oh, let me guess, you need to borrow $8? I was like, oh, screw you, man. I'm not going there. But, like I said, I mean, there are prostitutes in the neighborhood. There's drugs in this neighborhood all the time. There's a heavy police presence in the neighborhood. I mean, right down the street, there's the jail's right around the corner. Heather, I don't know what the going price is, and to be honest with you, I just not interested in paying it. But, you know, when the girl was bragging that the guy in a black fancy car was giving her 20 and thinking that was a great deal, I was just like, oh my gosh. Anna, I'm going to take your word. Oh, wait, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say, no, Anna, they're not that difficult. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Next. You should be laughing because, you know, I mean, I joke about things like that. You know, I'll probably get demonetized on this video or something, but I don't really care. You know, basically, I'm just sitting here chilling with you guys chatting. I appreciate you coming in. My thing for right now is I'll be here probably another 20 minutes. It's not a big deal for me to come down here and spend this much time. I'll go get some dinner and then I'll call it a night. I may go out and film some other places tonight. But I figure, you know, what the heck, I'll look around and see how long this dude typically hangs out in the neighborhood. Because from the time that the ladies reported it to me, need some well, you know, Is it the back of the neck muscle, or I'm just asking, Anna. Uh, so, um, later tonight, if I go out and get anything else, live stream, it'll probably be more active than this. Um, but one of the other things is that when I do come down, some of my viewers understand this and some of them don't. Um, I'm a homeless hippie. But I do carry pepper spray sometimes, and I carry a firearm at times. And the guy who broke my shoulder about 6 weeks ago, he was down here earlier too. I don't hold a thing against the guy. You know, he was being stupid that night. He did what he thought he was going to have to do. But in my diminished capacity, if I feel like I'm threatened, I'm going to protect myself. Um, so when I do that, I almost always have my body camera on, and it's always running. The reason it's not running right now is because I'm live streaming. When I turn off my live stream, that body camera will be running if I'm out in public, because you can never trust a third person, even if it's only audio. Uh, you know, hey Albert, there's my friend Albert. Albert knows he's like $20 is $20. Welcome to the live chat, Albert. Hey Albert, I still owe you the other 10 though, right? I mean, I only gave you a roll of quarters, and yeah, I know that wasn't a roll of quarters in my pocket. Albert's a local friend of mine here in San Antonio. We had a falling out because I ripped him off $10 on his last performance. But hey, when you're homeless hippie, sometimes you only got $10. Not my fault. He fell for it. Just kidding. He's a good guy. If you only knew what the whole conversation was about. But like I said, when I was getting back to this, the night that I got assaulted, I didn't have my firearm on me or my pepper spray, because I walked through the property of the homeless shelter, and that's a weapons-free zone. And after that, I started parking my vehicle over here. I mean, I could walk from right over around the corner, but if I do that, I choose to give up my ability to defend myself. I'm not willing to do that. That's kind of stupid to some people. Some of the officers, see when I was parking down here. Oh, you were talking to bus drivers. It really had nothing to do with the bus drivers. It simply had to do with the fact that I wanted to be able to get to my vehicle if I needed to. And why I parked there is because I can see my vehicle up and down this street when I'm filming. So I'm rambling now. I'm sure the Fusion Center is going to love that when they review it. Any questions from anyone before I take off? Nah, Albert, like I said, there's some things that, I got nothing against the dude. He was a drunk idiot that night. He's running his mouth and beating his wife. You know what? If his wife wanted the police, she could have had the police there after the situation was under control. And, she chose, she's like, no, I don't want the police, We told her, I said, well, let us take you down to the homeless shelter. And he ran his mouth, and he's like, they won't let me in because I'm drunk. And we're like, shut up, dude. We're not talking to you. We're talking to her. And she's like, no, I'm going to stay with him. So, I mean, again, women who tolerate domestic abuse, they're victims of it. It doesn't change the fact that they're victims. But whether you should interfere in that, again, that's why I didn't put my hands on the dude to start with. Because if I had, she'd have jumped around and said, oh, he assaulted my husband or whatever. I mean, I know these things. And until they get to the point where they feel, it's not just that they want the help, that they feel they can get the help. Because a lot of times they try to get help, but then they don't follow through with the counseling that's needed with the help. And what will happen is they go back to another abusive person. It's a cycle because that's what they're used to. They don't understand the signs, and um, being a victim is not, it is a choice, but it's not always a choice that's as easy to blame the victim as a lot of people say. Um, you know, so like I said, in that particular case, I don't blame her. I don't blame him. Um, you know, things happen the way they happen. He's mad because he thinks I'm interfering in their business. And again, I was just like, hey, dude, I'm not asking you. I'm asking her. Does she want me to call the police? And from there, he said, he wanted to have to do something. Guess the difference is he wasn't going to be able to choke me like he did her. Now, granted, he tackled me and, he broke my arm. I'm an old man. I can't fight for shit nowadays. Albert would testify to that. He used to think I was old and spry, but, he beats me up on a regular basis, which is a good thing. He puts me in my place, reminds me that I'm an old man. But I just wish that, it wasn't always, that way. I mean, Albert, you could at least snuggle me for 5 minutes. Hopefully he's out of the chat by now. But either way, what I'm saying, with abuse victims, I apologize. There's a loud train behind me. Hey, Albert, I'm going to hang up this live chat in about 5 minutes. If you're in town, give me a text. With abuse victims, even with this idiot who, I don't believe his intent was to cause me serious bodily damage. He just did not want me being around filming him beating his wife. No one would want that. At the same time, it was irritating to me that via police said they called SAPD and SAPD never showed up. It's just frustrating. And if you look down that way, that white car looks similar. It is not the white car I'm looking for. The one I'm looking for does have the cab company's name and phone number on the back, but it looks similar. I was like, oh crap, and I wasn't paying attention. Here's the car again. But okay, folks, my day down here is pretty much finished down at Via. Again, wasn't down here to screw with the police. Police didn't screw with me. No vehicles are parking in the staging area where they were before, which is good news. And again, Sergeant Poore followed up with me on that, and I appreciate him doing that. Sometimes it takes a squeaky wheel to get the grease on these types of things. So, I was a dick to a couple of bus drivers. They were dicks to me first, but, sometimes that's what it takes. Appreciate everyone for stopping in. I'm going to check live chat one more time. Yeah, I'm about the railroad tracks right over there by the jail. If you see on the camera, it's about, I'd say, about 75 yards from here. And my hearing's terrible anyway. I do need someone who supports the homeless down here as well. I've got some other auditors down in the San Antonio area, and they're good people. But VIA has victimized every auditor in the San Antonio area. They've arrested so many people for being on public sidewalks, like right where I'm at now. That's a public sidewalk. That over there is a public sidewalk. They arrested me on that too. But you know what? They keep getting those dismissed in court. Am I going to walk over there to prove I can do it right now? It's not worth going to jail to prove it again. I've already proved it. We proved it 4 times before. They cannot get a conviction on this charge, but the dirty pigs keep doing it. So, it's their way of saying, haha, I got you. Just like Officer Epps the other day coming over telling me I had to move out of a parking meter spot. And the guy was a complete idiot. He says, you can't park there. And I'm like, why not? And he says, did you pay for the meter? So in one, he knew I paid for the meter. Then immediately afterward, he said, Oh, that's a no parking zone. And I'm going to show you just from, I'm going to turn the camera around. So this is the parking meter I was parked at. I was in this spot. He says there's no parking anytime. And it's pointing to where the bus was parked. And I'm like, you see, I'm sitting in a parking meter and you asked if I paid for the meter, but now you're going to say no parking with a sign obviously pointing the other direction. And, obvious harassment, typical BS. But, I mean, that it is what it is. There's nothing else going on down here, guys. So again, I appreciate you stopping in. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. It's been going quite a while, actually, 41 minutes. Peace out. Guys, remember, see a cop, film a cop. Do what you do. Always be wary. There are risks doing what we do, not only from the police. Sometimes citizens get pissy and butt hurt and do stupid things. Be aware of your surroundings. And, it's hard for me to tell people this, but we can't do what we do if we're in jail. You don't have to take an arrest to make your point. You guys know me. I've been arrested 11 times. I'm not afraid to take an arrest, but I can't afford to keep doing it. So, peace out, everyone. Thanks again for stopping in. I'm going to go ahead and close out.